Hello everyone, welcome to Joget DX series webinar. My name is Penny, I'm the Marketing Associate in Joget and I'm the moderator for today's session. With this, I would like to introduce our speakers today. We have Mr. Ravish Divan, who is the CEO of Joget, and Mr. Hugo Lim, the VP of Customer Success, followed by Mr. Adrian, the Technical Consultant. So would you guys like to introduce yourself to the audience?
Hi guys, this is Ravish. Thanks for joining the webinar today.
Hi, I'm Hugo. Thanks for taking out your time and join our webinar today.
Hi, this is Adrian. Hello everyone, welcome and thank you for joining. Back to you, Penny.
Okay, thank you everyone. So before we get started, we do have a few housekeeping items to go over. Today's webinar will be recorded, and so if you miss out any on our sessions today, no worries, as you will have the access to the recordings later. And moving on, if you have any questions in between the sessions, feel free to come to us through the chat or the Q&A button in the Zoom control panel, and we will get as much as I can near the end of today's webinar. And last but not least, you will be directed to a survey after today's sessions, and we will very much appreciate if you could fill out the form and provide us with the feedback so that we can better improve our webinar in the future. Okay, so with this, let's kick off our webinars with our agenda. First of all, we will have our first speaker, Mr. Ravish Divan, to do the opening introductions. And we will have Mr. Hugo for the app building. And once we have done with all the demo, we will move on to the recap and what are the upcoming topics available, followed by the additional resources for you to run your Joget DX. And last but not least, we will have a Q&A session with the help of Hugo to answer the questions. With that, let's begin the introduction by Mr. Ravish.
Hi Penny, thank you so much for giving the opportunity here.
Thank you.
Welcome everyone again. This is Ravish Divan. I have the fun opportunity to lead Joget, and as we reopen in these unprecedented times, I know a number of our customers and number of other organizations are looking at how they can reopen safely, and we all are eager to reopen safely. And talking about the banks, they want to control how many people are coming in. I've noticed personally, you go out and there are people, they're controlling as they're coming in, but there are people outside waiting in line. So as you will see through the webinar, creation of an application wherein you can dynamically manage people coming in and also record who came in, who went out. So really manage your visitors. This goes for banks, government agencies, medical facilities, offices. So there are a number of ways to do this, and I'm glad that we have this opportunity to talk to you guys today and share how this can be done efficiently and fast. Hugo, take it over from there.
Thank you, Ravish. So I will have control then, Penny.
Okay.
Right. So let me go to the next slide. All right. So let's get into the main agenda of the day, app building. Okay. So let me just switch my screen here. And getting back here. Okay. All right. So this the title of our webinar today is Visitor Management App. So we will be going through with everyone in the audience here, and let's try to build the applications together. Okay. First of all, let me just go into the first agenda here. All right. So I would like to invite everyone in the audience today to try to build the applications alongside with me, so that you will have a hands-on experience. You can try it out, and during which, if you have any questions at all, you would be able to make use of the chat or the Q&A sections to pose real-time questions, and our panelists Adrian's, Justin's, and even Penny will try their very best to answer the questions. Okay, so I would recommend that you try to put our presentations side by side with a new browser window of yours, and sign up a Joget Cloud account. So if you do not already own a Joget instance, whether it is locally installed or it is cloud hosted, right? So I would like to invite you to go to joget.com and sign up for your very own copy of Joget Cloud instance. So let's get into it, right? So just browse to joget.com, okay? Just browse to joget.com and try to register a new account, all right? So while you are doing that, okay, I'll be leaving this video to play, and it will actually show you the process that we will go through, right, in order to sign up for account. So once you sign up, you need to check your email for the activation code. All right. So then you need to just copy the activation code, paste it in. And this is just a step away, right, from getting your own copy of Joget Cloud instance. And there we go. All right. So I'm gonna just give you a minute or two, right, to complete signing out the account. And there you have it. That would be the App Center of Joget DX, right? And that would be your cloud URL. So you can keep it by signing in every 7 days. Then that way your account will be kept active all the time. All right. So once we are done with that, right, then we will get into the requirements of the day, right, as what Mr. Ravish has shared earlier, right? So in this webinar, we will attempt to build a visitor management application, right? So if you do not have any system in hand, all right, already have, you may resort to a very traditional style of keeping a visitor logbook, right, whereby every visitor that steps into your premise would need to sign up and sign in, right? But it kind of defeats the purpose of social distancing, right? Because you would and hygiene, right? Because you'll be using the same book and the same pen again and again, right? So that's not very hygienic. Therefore, let's try something new. You can try to build a visitor management app, web applications using Joget DX, and we will show you on how to make use of these local no-code platforms just to do that. Okay, so once you are ready with your own cloud account, right, you may then sign in as the admin. Okay, so the best way to give you the complete picture of the applications that we are building today, it is to show you the actual finished product itself. Okay, so this is my copy of Joget, right? And this is the completed application, right? So that we will have a very good picture on what we are building towards, okay? So if you may bring up your mobile phone and to try to scan the QR code that you see on the screen here right now. So what you will get is that I'm gonna just split my screen, right? And bring up my mobile phone as well, okay? So as you can see, right, I can actually bring up my phone and try to scan the QR code, right? So upon doing so, it will actually bring me to the visitor registration form here, right? So I can also point to it in my web browser here as well. So by scanning the code, it will actually bring me to the registration page. Okay, all right. So what I'm gonna demonstrate next is that my phone will act as the store owner of the premise here, right? So what I'll do is that I'm gonna sign in as admin. Okay. All right. And I'm going to click on the Add Visitor app to the home screen. Okay. So what will happen next is that as any apps that you develop on the Joget platform, it is a PWA ready and compliant. Okay. So it will have the ability for in-phone storage as well as the ability to do a push notification as well. Okay. So on my right, no, on my left, sorry, right. So let's pretend that there is a visitor that is going to sign in right now. Okay, let's say that we have a Hugo friend here, okay, and trying to sign in. Okay, so what will happen here is that we will get a push notifications once someone's checked in, right? So another thing that will happen is that email notifications will be received as well. There we go, right? Okay, so coming back here, right? So sorry for the messy desktop here. Okay, all right. So I hope that you will get a clear picture of the applications that we are building towards, okay? And I hope that you are also ready with your very own copy of Joget DX cloud instance or on-prem, okay? So we will be using this as the guidance in order to build towards that, right? So
Hi, Hugo.
yes, Adrian.
Yeah, so I've got a question here. They're asking, what is PWA really? Perhaps you can explain more?
Right, sure. Thanks, Adrian. So PWA is the acronym to Progressive Web Applications. In short, it is a technology or framework that is spearheaded by Google in order to bring native-like functionalities to web applications. So Joget DX applications are PWA compliant. Therefore, we would be able to gain certain or some features that are normally only found in native applications. So by designing the application only once in Joget DX builders, we would be able to use the same applications on multi screen devices that should work in all devices. So I hope that that answers the question.
Yep, thanks very much.
Okay, all right. So I hope that everyone is now ready with their own copy of Joget. So let's just jump into the foundations. Okay. So the form is the integral part and is the center of the universe in our applications here. So everything that we do will be based on the forms that we have here. So as you have seen in the live demo earlier, right, by submitting the forms, it will send out an email notifications as well as perform a push notifications as well. So I would like to challenge everyone, right, to see if you are able to achieve what you have seen earlier or not, right? So first thing first, right, we will need to prepare a app canvas or app container and start designing the form, okay? And I will promise you that there's no coding needed at all, right, in order to build these applications. Okay. All right.
Here you go. Just a moment. The question is, when you took the picture of the barcode just now, does that mean the visitors need to be a Joget user as well?
No, you don't need to, because it does not need to be a name user. It is a visitor, right? So you do not need to have a account to sign in. So
So
short
the push
login.
notification and the email is more for the shop owner. Is that correct?
Yep. Yep.
Yep. Okay, cool.
Yep.
Thanks.
Okay. All right. So let me just get to the site now. Okay. And before I move on, I would like to also highlight that we will be um, making use of certain plugins that are not available out of the box. Okay. So let me just try to log in, right? There are certain plugins so that will not be available out of the box, and we will be fetching them from the marketplace. Okay. So in the marketplace, we have more plugins and applications that act as the showcase. So in this webinar, right, we will be using two of the plugins from the marketplace. So if you may, I would like to also invite you to register for an account in the marketplace. So you can, from your App Center, simply point to download from marketplace. Okay. And click on the login button, right? And you can also sign up if you do not already have an account there. Okay. So log in. Right. So very quickly, the plugin that we will be using will be push notifications, as well as the report builder. So we will need to perform the installations by simply clicking on it, okay? And Joget will the site will resolve by itself, and it will show you the installation button here. So by doing so, your copy of Joget will gain this extra piece of feature or functionality. So please go ahead and do that as well. All right. So we will need to install the push notification plugin too, and the report builder add-on for DX as well. Okay. All right. So again, you will just need to click on the install button at the top here. All right. So once you are done with that, okay, let's get back here, right? So we are going to build the form, okay? So click on design new app. Just a quick one, right? The admin credentials would be admin and password would be admin as well, okay? So with the time left, let's see how much that we can build today, right? So click on new app, okay? So visitor management, right? I'm just gonna just call it as VM, right? Visitor management, okay? You are ready? Okay, let's go. So just click on save. In these steps, we are creating the blank app canvas needed, right, in order to create our form. Okay, so click on create new form. Yep. Okay, so here we're gonna just call it as register. Okay, this would be the registration form that we talked about and seen just now, and we will need to just declare a table name here. So mind that you don't need to actually go into the back end to manually create and provisions the table, okay? So as we design the form, right, Joget will go to the DB and set up all those columns accordingly, according to our form design, okay? So if you have any question at all, our panelists, Adrian, Justin, Penny would be ready to help. All right. Okay. So please bear with me and illustration, text field, name. Okay. So let's try to keep it real neat and simple. Okay. Before I start to add more stuff. Contact. And review. So far so good. Okay, let's push it a step more. Advanced options. Where is the validator? Right, so validator. This is extensible, right? So there are certain part of Joget that are extensible and in which you can go to the marketplace and look for them. Save. All right. Okay, so I'm gonna just take a very quick pause here, right? In case you are playing catch up.
Right, Hugo.
Yes, sir.
Yep. Could you repeat back what's the two two plugins that you use in the marketplace? Then maybe we
Sure.
can put a link inside the chat.
Absolutely. So download from marketplace. We will need the push notification plugin. Let me see if I can just, and the report builder. So let me just try to. So we are looking for the push notifications plugin too. So let me just grab the link and put it into the chat. Yep. Okay. And we will also needing the report builder. So let me just go ahead and grab the link and put it in the chat as well, folks. Okay. All right. Okay. All right. So coming back to the form here, right? So this is the app control panel, forms and UI, right? So as we design, right, we will be able to inspect all our entities here. So far, the basic building blocks of Joget consists of forms, lists, user view, and processes. Okay, so these are the four main components that we have here. And the one that I asked you to install from the marketplace would further extends the capability of Joget, whereby it would bring in the report builder so that we can create reports of forms alike. Okay. So we are now in the first core component of Joget. So just go ahead and save the form. Okay. Let's see. All right. So I've already saved my form. Okay. So just go ahead and click on Generate App. And click on CIUD. Okay. So CIUD denotes the basic operations of a form records, create, retrieve, update, and delete. So just go ahead and check on CIUD and click on Generate. Okay, all right. So there is a link here to launch the user view. All right, so by doing so, we would arrive at the listing here, and we would be able to click on the new button and to start adding new record. So as for now, right, we are currently logged in as admin, and we are keying in all these data ourselves, right? But the end goal is to allow our visitor to be able to self-register. And as you can see here, the data list here, the columns, it is not something that we want, right? For example, the ID column, right? We can make do without. So go ahead and click on list and register by turning on the quick edit mode on, right? So that you will go to the data list builder. Okay. And we will be able to rearrange the columns. Again, in a drag and drop fashions, there's no contact required. So we'll be most concerned about the name, the contact, and the check-in time, right? And we will be able to perform filterings as well if you need to, okay? And if you go to properties, we would be able to sort descending by date created as well. All right, all right. So just go ahead and save the data list. Okay. And get back to the listing here. All right. So the next thing that I would like to demonstrate, right, is that the ability to add in a email notification feature. Okay. You may not be able to get it up and working right now, right? As we go through the demo here, this is because you will actually need to configure your own email server. So not to be worried, right? So you can work on the email server part later on. So what I'm gonna show you is where you can find and to have it set up. Okay. So in the form builders properties, we have a attribute called post processing tool. Okay. And we would be able to point to the likes of email tools, as well as the push notifications tool that you see in the live demo earlier, right? So what I'm gonna do is that in the roadmap here, okay, what we are going to do is to add email notifications as well as push notifications, okay, upon submissions of the form, right? So we will need to make use of a wrapper, right, that enables us to select multiple process tools, right? So go ahead and select multi-tools and select the email tool as well as the push notifications, okay? So by doing so, okay, upon submission of the forms, it will trigger both of the tools, right? So in the subsequent screens, this is where you can key in your own email, right? To try to send an email to yourself. So for example, this is another email of mine. A visitor has registered, right? So let's refer to the screen here. Okay. So for example, as you can see here, there is a what we call as a hash variable keyword here. So you actually pick up what has been keyed in by the visitor itself. So form dot, we will need to have the table name, right? The table name is VM register. Okay, VM register dot name. There we go. So when someone submits the form, email will be sent out to this email, right? So you will need to configure this at your end, perhaps later on, right? So for now, you can just stick to my screen now, right? And lastly, that would be the push notifications, okay? So I'm gonna just copy back the same exact message here and put it in here, right? So by doing so, right, we have already enabled email as well as push notifications. Thank God. Okay, all right. So time to test it out then, right? So with this, we have achieved a milestone here, right? We have gotten the base up. All right. So let's try it out. Okay. So what you can do next, is to try to make a new submission. Okay. You go in 124 and click on the save button. Okay. So if we go to monitor, okay. So in this cloud instance itself, we would actually be able to look at the system log. So the one that we are interested would be the applications log. So we can go to properties and click on logs, right? So Joget platform does not just help you with the design time, right? So when you go live, Joget will also provide you with the visibility, such as the ease of access to the server log, right, for troubleshooting purpose, as well as the performance APM feature, applications performance monitoring as well, so that you'll be able to better assess and to check out which of the page that is getting a lot of hits and any of these page that would require extra attentions or not, right? So for example, for the CIUD menu behind the scenes here, we can see that there are traffics coming in, right? So that's mainly just me, myself, right? And that will also explains why there are so little data here as well. So this is the APM feature of Joget. So let me just check if I have a email coming in. Okay, all right, and there we go. Right, so a visitor has registered. And the push notifications, you have already seen it earlier. So I'm gonna just, in the essence of time, right, I'm gonna just move on with the next milestone that we have. All right, so I hope that so far everyone would be able to catch up. All right, and moving on. So we're done with this. And so the next part is that how to make our forms accessible, right? Like what we have seen earlier, visitor, right? We will be able to print a copy of that form or report and stick it on the, let's say, the front door of our store, right? So that visitor will be able to register themselves and to get into the premise. And so we would be using the report builder in order to design the page that we see here, right? So coming back here, okay. So before we do that, right, as you can see in here, there's only one menu here. It is applications that we are building, and it would actually give you all the ability to list down and look at all the records, which is a huge no-no, right? So as the form will be submitted by anonymous, they would only need access to the form itself, right? The form menu itself. So therefore, we'll need to just very quickly add the ability to point to the forms menu. Okay, so I'm opening up the Userview Builder, right? So this is where the end user would access and interact through everything that we have built. So for example, the manage register, we would ideally set the permissions to admin, right? so that only certain users will have access to the data, right? And we will need to add a form to the other category, right, that says register. And it will point to the forms that we have, right? And it is still the same form that we have, okay? And by submitting the forms, we will get the email and the push notifications as well, okay? So with this, we will have the menu ready and it is accessible through the ID here, but we can set a custom ID so that there will be a friendly, shorter URL to access, okay? So let me just very quickly repeat. So if you are still trying to follow the design here, so open up the Userview Builder, add in a form menu, and point to the form register, and declare a custom ID with it, okay? Click on OK, click on Save, all right? And get back here to the runtime. This is what we call as the runtime. So this is where the end users will be able to access, and click on the register menu to validate what we have just done. Okay, all right.
Hi, Yo. Sorry, I just got a question. Did you show how do you open the Userview Builder?
Sure, all right. So if you're at the runtime right now and you're logged in as admin, at the bottom, just click on the quick edit on or off. If you can also use the shortcut key, I think it's Control 0. It actually shows up. So go ahead and try. Yeah, Control 0, on and off. For the admin bar actually, right? So this way, you will be able to click on the menu here in order to bring up the Userview Builder. Okay, all right. So coming back to the runtime, please copy the URL. We'll need it to generate the QR code. All right. So once you have copied that, keep it safe aside. Go to Forms and UI, Add-on Builder, create new report, and simply name it as info. All right. So you may try to use tags, right, for the fielder or your store name, right? So for example, I'm just gonna call it a store name for TTX center, okay? And drag in a QR code, okay? And point to the URL earlier, right? So for the height, maybe you set it to 200 px and maybe put it at the center. So the report builders would, as the name suggests, it is meant for report building, right? So there are charts and label value tables, lists, so on and so forth. And we are making use of report builders for its ability to generate QR code, right? So once you're done with this, go ahead and save the report builders. And by the way, we can also look at the PDF equivalents of the report that we have just built. So we will know what to expect when we print it out in a, let's say, a A4 paper later on, right? So once you are done with that, this is what we are going to show it and stick it on our front door, right? Get back to the Userview Builder, right? We will need to access this page that we have just built. So there should be a report menu, report, right? Put it under the admin's category, right? Because it is meant to be accessed by the admin and printed out, right? So report, point to the info report. Okay. Hope that you're still following, and save. Okay. Adrian, if you think that there's any audience that needs help, please shout out.
Yeah, sure, no problem. So far, most of the questions are, I think, useful for Q&A. But I do have one question though. So this app, will it be available somewhere?
Yes, we do plan to make it available in the marketplace itself. And so let's work up something, and I'll make this app that I have here available in the follow-up email to the audience later on, perhaps.
Yeah, that's good. All right, sure.
Yep.
Thanks.
Okay. Right. So under report here, we will be able to download the PDF. Right. So if I just very quickly again bring up my phone. Okay. And bring up the camera and scan it. Right. So this is just to verify that it actually works. Yes, it does. Okay. All right. Cool. Okay. So moving on. So we have achieved this. And also with the data that we receive, we would be able to generate some statistics out of it, right? This can be done using the report builder, but I'm gonna just quickly show it to you guys in the interest of time, all right? So by going back to the form builder, okay? So click on generate app, okay? So there is a form submission statistics here that we can just very quickly check, and there's actually a approval process also. So we are using this very form as the base to generate the necessary elements. App Generator is a pluggable plugin as well, where you would be able to download the form submission statistics app generator plugin from the marketplace as well, right? So in the interest of time, again, let me just speed up a little bit here, and I'm gonna just generate the form submission statistics and the approval process. Okay, so let's say that to visit, you would need to go through the due process and to have it approved before you are allowed in, for example. So it is something that we can add in as well. Okay, all right. So with this, it will actually generates the necessary menus here, right? So that it says register approval process. Once you click on submit register, you will be using the same form as the trigger point in order to kick off the run process process definitions here. So by submitting the forms, right, it will point to the app generator approval process, right, where it will be generating these definitions here. So very quickly, right, this is the app builder where we would be able to fine tune our process according to our needs if we need to, right, and to perform all the mappings necessary to it as well. Okay, all right, and one last thing, that would be the statistics for the submissions that we have. So far, I've only tried twice, or five times, right? So therefore, there's a figure here, right? So I hope that we have gone through a good amount of examples and buildings here. It will give you a very good idea on how to get started and build your own visitor management app, right? So what's next, right? So for example, right, we can add in an approval flow, like what I have demonstrated earlier, right? We can add in a check-in, check-out ability, right? So that we would have capacity control within the premise, right? as per locals regulations, for example. And maybe if you have multiple branches, right, you would want to make use of the same applications, right, instead of having apps in silo all over the places, right? So we can view it as part of the applications that we have built earlier as well, right? And this would actually conclude the application building of our webinar today. And over back to you then, Penny. Thank you.
Great. Thank you, Hugo, on the elaboration of the app building. And so with that, let's see what are the various resources available for you to get Joget DX up. Okay. Okay. So if you have missed our past webinars, you can always visit the URL above. Oops, I'm sorry.
Sorry, Penny, you're back in control.
Okay. Okay. So if you miss out on our past webinars event, feel free to visit the URL above in order to get access to it and to keep in touch with us in the future webinars. And moving on, there are various of tutorial videos available on the Joget website. So you can always check them out and in order to get a quick overview of Joget. Okay, so what's more? We have the Joget knowledge base where all the information from general to technical are all available here in order for you to learn and explore various topics from time to time. And last but not least, we have the Joget Academy where you can sign up for the short courses in order to have a deeper understanding of Joget. Okay, with that, we have come to the Q&A session of today's webinar. And let's see. Oh wow, we have a couple of questions over here. So, okay, the first question is to Hugo. What is open source about Joget? Is that an open source low-code platform?
Right. So if I understand the question well, there are few editions of there are few editions of Joget. The one that is available in Joget Cloud, it's Joget Enterprise Editions, and we do have a Joget Community Editions where it is completely open source, and the Enterprise Editions is built on top of it with added features. Yep.
I see. Okay, great. So let's see. The next questions would be, for small medium shops, there might be several hundred users but not concurrent. So how does the pricing work for such apps?
So if you are going for a, so let me just quickly explain the licensing models of Joget. It is not based on concurrent users, it is based on name user. So how many concurrents that you have is not an issue, it's more of a server sizing, right? Joget licensing wise, we charge based on name users.
I see. Okay, great. So let's move on. How many apps can be supported in a Joget instance?
Good question, very good questions.
Yep.
So it actually depends. For example, what would be the concurrent loads, right? And so in technically, there is no limit on how many Joget apps that you can host in a single Joget instance. And the Joget instance itself, it depends on various factors. For example, are you in a clusters? Are you running on single node, and how capable is the single nodes, and the complexity of your applications that you have built, right? How many concurrent users that you have will be assessing them. So it is down to the server sizing and the requirements that you have. So there's no a single one-fits-all answer to this. But I would say that it's fairly capable to host multiple apps for decent sized organizations. So yeah, it depends.
Okay, well, it sounds great. Okay, so let's move on. The next question would be, how is support provided in Joget, as in for Joget's plugin and third-party plugins from the marketplace?
Very good questions. As for now, or if not, most of the plugins found in the marketplace are created by Joget itself, and there is no third-party vendors plugin in the marketplace currently. So as all the plugins are by Joget, we will try our best to support them as well through our enterprise support site and through the feedbacks received in the community forums as well.
Okay, cool. So we have another question over here. Is there a warranty for such plugins, especially the paid ones?
All the plugins in the marketplace are available for free. So I guess there's no need to answer this question. So even for free plugins, we don't charge for them, and we will still try to support them because we are the one that are managing the platforms and are the creators of the plugins as well. So we'll try our best to support them. Yep.
Okay, cool. So we have not much time left. We will move on to the last questions. In the visitor management applications, how are DDoS attacks protected?
All right, very good questions. It is something of the network level, the firewall levels that sits in between the users and Joget server. So it is something that servers admin would be able to take care of.
Okay, sounds great. And so it seems that we have come to the end of the webinar. So for those questions that are not answered over here, rest assured that we will get back to you through the email later on. So we would like to thank everyone for joining today's sessions, and thank you to our speakers, Mr. Aviv, Mr. Hugo, and Mr. Adrian. And well, so before we go, don't forget to provide your feedback in the survey form, which will be directed to you after today's webinar. Yeah. And we have come to the end of the sessions. Thank you everyone and have a great day ahead.